Local productions seen on Delta College Public Media are made possible with support from viewers like you. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Junia Doan's The Spark. I'm Junia Doan. Thank you for joining me. My guest today is philanthropist Daisy Soros, who, with her late husband Paul, established the Paul and Daisy Soros Fellowship for New Americans. Welcome, Daisy.
Daisy, it's normal for me to put a name of the guest under their picture, what they do, author, artist, businessman, inventor. When I asked you what I should put under you, you said fabulous. And you remind me of Aphrodite and her sense of joy and wonderful engagement with life, for fun, for love, for everything. Would you say that you're a flirt? Would you say that that's your attitude or something totally different?
Well, it's partially my attitude. I can be unpleasant sometimes. I can be cynical sometimes. I can be philosophical sometimes. So it all depends how the questions are asked or what mood I am in.
Well, true for many of us, but normally someone who are witty are very smart. And I find your wit has a certain ability to capture the moment and precipitate it into a phrase, a word, or something like that. And so I was wondering, in your relationships with people, do you use humor on a regular basis?
Only if it's called for. I mean, whether you call it humor or being cynical, I don't know. But it somehow just comes out. I don't plan to say it, but it happens.
Your mischievous side?
Yes, yes.
Oh, I like that. That is really interesting. When you were a little girl and not expecting World War II and the Nazis, what kind of dreams did you have about your future life?
People ask me that quite often. And like every little girl, I wanted to be an actress. I want to be a dramatic actress. But then again, I was always involved with medicine. It always appealed to me to be a doctor or to help humanity. So I didn't want to be a nurse. That somehow nobody respects a nurse. But the medical field appealed to me. The cinemascopy appealed to me, and the rest I don't remember.
When you came to America, one of the places you went to school was the Columbia School of Social Work. And I read that one of the jobs you have, or maybe it was a training program, was to sit with people who were dying and their families. And I wondered how that came to be a choice of yours.
It's not exactly no. When I went to Columbia, I didn't go to social work school. When my children were still young, I went back to NYU for social work school. And I got involved in family therapy and in death and dying situations. This was because I had personal experiences with that and my children. So I got at that stage, I was very involved in that. And it was a personal thing, really.
Is that when you lost your children?
That's after I lost my children, yes.
My brother died unexpectedly, and my mother had a really hard time coming back. So maybe I'm asking the question of myself somewhat. But how did you come back from that? What helped you? What normalized you, if you can ever be normal again?
I think one was my youth, the other one was my love for life. And somehow I just felt I have two choices. Uh, I either hang myself from the first lamppost or I try to go on. That doesn't mean that, like almost 90 years later, I still don't think about it a lot. But it means that I was married, I had a husband, and whom I loved, and I felt that the least I can do with our marriage is make it go on and try to be happy under the circumstances. I saw so many horrible things during the war that I hate to say that I was kind of used to it because nobody gets ever used to it, but it was maybe a little bit less of a shock to me than for somebody who had a very protected life.
Did that make you stronger? I know you admire people who handle adversity well.
But it made me stronger. People say I'm strong, but frankly, I'm very sensitive and I am very fragile. So I put on a good face, but deep inside, I don't think I'm strong.
How do you protect yourself?
Go on to the next activity.
I find that people who are very sensitive are really more interesting because they react more and they tell you more, they live more, and you can contact them at deeper levels if they wish, if they let you in.
I'm also very honest. I hate people who give only half of their face and who think that I'm so stupid that I don't see the other half. And to me, to be involved with somebody or have any type of relationship, I think number one rule is to let it out. Let them, if they ask you, do you like that dress on me? And you think it really looks awful, you don't have to say that it looks awful, but you certainly don't have to say, oh, it's wonderful. So I really believe in honesty, and I have great trouble many times with people who are too afraid to tell the truth.
What do you think they're afraid of?
They're afraid that they are hurting me or I won't like them anymore or it's not their business to give me their opinion. It's insecurity on their part, I think.
I think if people see it differently, it makes it more interesting in a sense because you could learn why, what
You
they like or dislike.
you
But
mean
I do
not
understand people edit. I call it editing.
you believe in editing, so you
No, I
have
don't. I believe that sometimes, well, I must believe in it. Sometimes when persons are out of it and they're black and white, there's no point really saying very much because their ears aren't open and they're not curious. But before I came to that conclusion, Daisy, I would say straight out, well, why do you
you are
like that?
you do. But you are one of the very few people I know who is doing it.
Well, I don't know if you find it more interesting, but I,
Take it.
I think that's a part of being alive, and we're all identical. I don't want to
Look,
say it's boring, but it is.
I don't want to be rude, but I think the fact is, you ask somebody, do you like this white or do you like this pink? And why not say whether you like it white or pink? Well, I have to tell you a little thing. When many times when I was getting dressed, and I would ask my husband, do you think I should wear this or do you think I should wear that? And Paul would say, I think you should wear that. And I said, well, what's wrong with this? Because basically I wanted to wear this. And he said, well, then why do you ask me? And I would say, because if you agree with my secret decision, then I feel good.
Oh, how interesting. Tended about me in a certain way. I wouldn't ask so much about clothes, but I would ask about other things. He finally said to me, "Why do you ask me? Because you don't take my advice."
I just gave it as an example.
What was the best way to talk to him, being more of an introvert and a sequential thinker?
What do you mean by that?
Well, for example, in our family, I'm a little more emotional than my late husband, and my daughter would talk to us quite differently. When with Ted, she'd go in and she'd say basically A, B, C, D. Everything was very logical. With me, she'd come in and give the emotional on this hand, that hand, but then I feel this or that. And she decided that both of us responded better with different styles of talking or communicating. So that's kind of what I meant by that.
Yeah.
Did you have to train yourself to be a little more logical, or did the natural joy of you just overwhelm him?
Well, he got sometimes overwhelmed and sometimes underwhelmed. It's,
That is funny and true.
it's,
Yeah.
but I had to be me. So I talked to him the way I felt comfortable talking,
How do
whatever.
you think he taught you in life, or expanded your thinking in life?
Well, he had a great influence on me on that. He was a very much less emotional than me, very logical. And if you ask him a question, many times it took a number of seconds or minutes for him to answer because he had to think about it. He wanted to be sure he is not just spitting out some common answers. And I was a much more spontaneous person. But I admired Paul always, why don't you think before you speak? You know? And I learned that in a way, but not 100%, because basically you don't change your you. You know what I mean? You are you, and you have your ways, and uh, you have your reaction to things, some slowly, some quickly. And I am basically a speedy person. I like to drive fast. I like to do fast. And my husband was not that way. So we were very, very different in everything. And that was good. We learned from each other. I think I was a better student in that than he was because he was more convinced that what he does is the right way to do it. I
Oh, hard to live with sometimes.
yeah, yeah.
So we had set up this interview 3 years ago, and then I canceled because of the virus implications and so forth and so on. There was three I canceled, you being one of them, in order to leave New York in 2020. But what has changed? Everybody says we've changed as a result of the lockup or whatever happened. Do you think that's true of you? Or you've had a life that has so many, much change?
I don't think I changed. Um, I am one of the few people I think who really didn't mind COVID as much as some other people did. Um, I um, I actually like the idea of not having to rush somewhere, of not having to have your hair done every 2 minutes, of not having to get dressed. And I thought the idea of I can do what I want in the comfort of my house. I had time to chat with a lot of my friends. I had time to read a book. Excuse me. But um, I don't think I changed. I honestly don't. I didn't think I'm gonna get it, meaning COVID. But I don't know. I don't feel I changed.
Now you are where you are in life in terms of age and in terms of activity and maybe some aches and pains. And what have you decided to take on or let go as a result of that?
I'm not gonna let go because until I'm here, I try to be my best. I try to um, be part of what I can be part of. I won't be a part of a marathon because I certainly can't run, but I try to get out of life as much as I possibly can in the best way I can and in a way where I still feel I am have open eyes and see new things or even try to do things in a different way than I was used to.
What do you like in people? What attracts you to a person?
What attracts me? Well, certainly personalities, um, certain things which I admire people. I admire people who try to do the most of everything, try to see in a positive way, but not in a polyand. What is the name? Poly. The girl who was
Pollyanna.
poly, polyand. Poly. What is the name of the
Pollyanna.
polyand?
Pollyanna. See, everything is
Not
beautiful and
in
wonderful.
a polyand way. Um, and I'm also I looks is a certain thing which I also react to. Uh, but a lot of the things what I admire in other people are what I don't have. And I'm not gonna list to you the things what I feel I don't have. But somebody who looks at the world maybe in a way what I have never imagined to look at that way. So anything which is different and anything which opens up a new way of either, as I mentioned, looking at the world or doing things or the- disliking or liking things.
How often do you find that?
Not much, but you asked and I told. So, but I do find it. There are a lot of people I really admire, and there are a lot of people whom I learn things with. I look at myself, unfortunately, as a perfectionist. There is no such thing as being a perfectionist. Now, whether that's 2 inches to the left or to the right, what you have done, it really doesn't matter. To me, it matters. It bothers me. If, in my view, things are not done the way I imagine should be done. And I'm critical. I'm very critical.
Do you think you're very visual and therefore you see more deeply than others?
Yes, I am very visual. I am. Yes. And yet, I don't recognize faces, which is, I am very bad in recognizing people. So it's kind of this weird thing of being visual and you're not remembering features or faces. If you would be there now and you would put a totally different wig on yourself, I wouldn't recognize you.
But you would either by my shape or by my voice. What helps you?
By your voice, yes, I'm talking about your face. By the way, you look very pretty now.
Oh, that's a lovely compliment. I appreciate your telling me. It's all the hair.
But it's very good. Don't ever have it differently.
Oh, well, thank you about that. So, Daisy, you told me you made a video for
Yes.
use at a later time. What else have you done along that line?
Well, what I haven't really done, I have a number of videos because of my fellowship and because of I was honored a number of times for different organizations, and that all has videos and a lot of things what I have done in my life, and I'm very proud of that because somehow that's why I wrote a book, because
Yeah,
to
it was
me,
good. I read it.
I just wrote the book because my children got married pretty late in life. I was getting old. My grandchildren were young. This was like, let's say, we're talking about 15, 20 years ago. And I wanted them to remember, have a source of remembering me. Because me, I don't know really tiddlywinks about my grandparents, a lot about my family members, and I didn't want them to be in the same position. So I wrote the book, or I have the videos, and I was absolutely thrilled last year when my grandson, who is now 28, one of them, and he said, I reread your book. And I was really touched that he really wanted to know more about and remember it more. I love my book. My children hate my book. Most people like it.
How come?
Well, how come? Because again, it's a very honest book. If I didn't like something, I write about it. If something hurt me, I write about it. And I didn't believe that a book where your marriage is just fabulous and you never had any problems and you just have dinner holding hand in hand. And I don't believe that your children are just perfection. So
Right.
I wrote about things which bothered me by getting older and living my life.
I noticed you and Paul were married in a Unitarian church. How did that come to be?
We did not get married in church. We got
In a
married.
Unitarian church.
No, 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 no.
Hotel.
We were married in City Hall. We were not married in church. We were married on a Saturday morning at City Hall with a judge, where a lot of people do that. And when I arrived on a February morning with kind of wet on the ground and kind of slushy snow, and Paul arrived finally, and I said, "Where are my flowers?" And he said, "What flowers?" Yeah, I said, "Well, I'm supposed to have flowers when I'm getting married." So we had to go and register at upstairs to the judge, and there were a lot of other people there. And then Paul said, "Well, I'll be back. I'm going to try to get some flowers." So he disappeared. And certainly Saturday, 11 o'clock in the morning at City Hall, it's not that easy to find flowers. He was a little late arriving. And in the meantime, it was our turn to get in front of the judge. And they called our name. And I got up and I said, "I'm sorry, he's not here." And of course, the whole group started laughing, and so it felt horrible for me that he left me. They didn't know he went for flowers. So anyhow, no, I did not. I don't know where you get that from, but I did not get married in a church. First of all, I hardly knew any people, and it's I never walked down the aisle, and that I regret. But we had no family here, and it was really a year after I arrived in that country, so we didn't have that many friends. And I had a very everyday wedding, which was not romantic at all.
I'm so glad for the correction. I read it, and so I'll cross it out when I find it again.
Yes, it
Uh,
was.
but I like your story because he had got there eventually with the flowers, I'm sure.
Never
So,
so well.
Daisy, I want to thank you for sharing life with
Yes.
me and the people who watch, and sharing that it's a wonderful opportunity to live. Find the funny, find the great, be attracted to the new, be curious, keep going, contribute, and celebrate beauty and flirtation. I don't really mean flirtation, but engagement. It's a great contribution to life to be optimistic. So thank you for appearing.
To contact Junia, send her an email at juniadonsthespark@gmail.com. For more information, program schedules, and news about future guests, go to www.juniadonthespark.com. Thank you for joining us. See you next time on Junia Doan's The Spark.
Local productions seen on Delta College Public Media are made possible with support from viewers like you. Thank you.